Welcome everybody to Keep Going, the podcast. My name is Osama Yasin.
I'm Isaiah Wilburn.
And we are going to be discussing several topics today. One starting with, the podcast.
Who we are.
And
the businesses that we've dived into.
Yes. Combining them is definitely a hassle. And
For sure.
It's been one heck of a ride. Ending off with quarter four. But we are definitely going into quarter one strong, and I'm excited about it.
And prepared. The systems that we've went over, operations, the way we looked at things have definitely changed over the fourth quarter of 2022 was a lot of transformation. But we've been getting the question a lot, how do you guys pull it off? How do you guys do it? How do you dive into so many different industries? One, clearly I would always say is your priorities have to be intact. But throughout the podcast, we're going to be discussing business topics. We're going to be talking about growth. We're going to be diving into our lives. The podcast is going to be very wide spectrum. It's not going to be just one topic. We're not going to just be this is all we're talking about. We're kind of going to be taking a perspective into our lives and how we operate, and then also sharing our business and how we're growing and strategizing on that front as well.
Yeah. And one question we get a lot from a lot of people is, what does it take to become that motivated? Mm-hmm. We ourselves are on we're on a road where nothing is in the way of us, and even if something decides to come into the way, we move it or we move around it, And one thing for me is getting up straight in the morning and doing something that nobody else does, whether it's reciting the Quran. I mean, I practice Islam. Those of you may know or don't know. So 5:30 in the morning, Fajr prayer, the first prayer in the day, got to get up and do it. That's something that even a lot of Muslims, they don't participate and practice in the religion. So one thing you got to do is do things that nobody else does, whether it's reading a book 5 a.m. in the morning, getting up and praying 5 a.m. in the morning. You're very active with your community and your church.
Yes.
I'm very active within myself and practicing, my own religion. Religion is, one of the strongest things, in my opinion, for me and to help me get to where I need to be, that motivated, that devoted, because I feel like with God, you and I, nothing gets in our way.
100%. So my walk with God for sure has set me up to where I am today. I always say God is my foundation. Like you just said, when you first wake up, the first thing I do is thank God, because you can wake up and you're oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. And you automatically set your mindset up towards failure. No matter what you do, you've already told yourself, you're not grateful. You're not even just you should be thanking God that you're up for another day.
Exactly. Yeah.
So my foundation is totally wrapped around God. In business, at anything that I do, I always go back to God as the rock, the foundation. That is the core. So I think that's definitely what has separated me from, I don't want to say competition in people, but that's just my life, right? When people ask me what's the number one, I'm not going to go and reference a book usually. I'm not going to go and reference a podcast or somebody that I met. I'm going to say, well, my core, if my core is right, then everything else will come into place, right?
Exactly.
My core foundation is God, and my faith is strong, and my walk with God is strong. Then everything else that I want, it'll be blessed, right? The business will be blessed. My relationships with people would be blessed. Just anything I touch is already blessed. And not okay, God, let me thank you first so I can get the blessings. It's no, thank you, God, because without you, I would never receive the blessings.
Exactly.
So I would say my walk with God is definitely a key point. And I think that is something that, honestly, people don't talk about enough. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be the podcast that's just about business, and this is the book you read, and this is how you change your life, and this is the mindset and the habits that you take. I think you have to really hone in as an individual on your core. What is your core? Because if you're trying to grow to the next level in business or whatever you're trying to do, I don't care what you do in life, if you're trying to go to the next level and you're stuck or you're running into a wall or something's in your way, you have to go back to the foundation. What is your life wrapped around?
Exactly.
What is it your mindset stuck on? And who are you around? Because all that will unpeel and unfold into who you truly are.
Yeah, and the who you are around is one of the key ones, because I used to surround myself with a variety of different people. I still do surround myself with a variety of different people, whether it's religious people who love to, dive into partying and excitements and thrills and live with the climax of life, and also business-oriented people, isolated people, extroverts, introverts, you name it. I surround myself with a big bunch of people. I used to surround myself with those climax livers, people who want to just, hit the peak in their night, hit the peak in their day, go out and just kind of live it up and whatever. that will drown you into a whole bunch of nothing. And I've lived it, learned it, seen it. I've seen people go down the wrong path with it. And I almost was lost myself, and at some point I had to turn and see God and see the brighter things in life. My mother, my father, my family, everybody that I've been around has blessed me enough to see that there's more in life than just going out and smoking weed and doing this and doing
100%.
that. And it's not that these type of people are going to drag you down. It's just, you got to see if you're different, if you want more in life, you can't stay content, because the things that people do around that lifestyle is they live for contentment. They're content. As long as they can have the thrill at the end of the day, as long as they'll be fine with whatever outcome at the night is, they're content. You got to be hungry. You got to drive for it. You got to strive for it. You got to make sure that you want it at any means necessary. So surrounding yourself is a very key and critical part in becoming successful.
100%, I agree. Last week I was actually at 2 major dinners. So I was out and dinner out in Beverly Hills, which is, for people who don't know, I live around 4 hours away, Central Valley. But I was around just a team of millionaires, right? Like everybody at the table, majority of people at the table were millionaires. That was night number 1, right? And that was like a huge perspective. One, I was in the room with some very high, top producing loan originators that run a very successful mortgage team that I'm now a part of, actually. And just like, especially like from my team, like they're so driven and they were so like hungry, but they're like enjoying life to the fullest, right? You would think, well, they sacrifice so much, but they also enjoy life so much, and their energy was just like consuming, right? It's like, wow. And when you sit in that table compared to sitting at the table where it's like, oh, I'm having another shitty day, or life's not going good. It's like, and the following day I hung out with the private equity. As we know, I won't say his name. He runs a very large automotive bank. And again, multi-million. Guy doesn't like flex or flaunt, but just at a dinner with him, and just the way he like goes throughout his day and the way he talks and speaks, like
makes you hungry.
He speaks from like one authority, and he knows what he's talking about, like 100%. And just like when you're around like those type of people, and like maybe you're not around the millionaire, right? Maybe you're around just a friend who's just encouraging. But you have to find people in your circle of influence, or your friends, or if you're networking, your church, or whatever it is, get around people that are going to push you further towards being the greatest you.
Exactly.
Not just, okay, let's go and crush it and make money and have success. No, like, hey, I know you've been kind of down lately in life. Like, hey, bro, like, just pick it up a little bit. Or, hey, I know you haven't been at the gym lately. Like, hey, just go to the gym. Hey, like, I know you really haven't been, like, taking the most authority at work. Like, hey, push further in work. Hang out with those people who want to generally see you succeed, right? The people I was with last week, they are committed to my success. Like, I could tell, like, they want me to be successful, right? Because if I win, they win. But not just so they win, just because they see that I'm committed. They want, me to go further.
Exactly.
Same way with us at the dealership at our company is, like, when I'm down, right? I was like, sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I have a bad attitude. Something that pissed me off.
It happens,
And you're like, hey, like, snap out of it. Like, we're not going to let this ruin your entire day.
Exactly, yeah.
We get it right from the beginning. Like, don't let it linger on your day. Especially, I always say this, life is cause and effect.
Yes.
You can't choose how something, like, gets thrown your way, but you do have the option and the right to choose how you react to something. So if you don't like, let's say you get a flat tire, right? Whatever, your tire's flat. You can be like, oh, this just sucks. This ruined my day. Like the other day, like my windshield on my car chipped. I was like, this is an $800 damn windshield. Like, I'm over this car, right?
Sensors and everything in there.
Like, it had to be this thing. And I'm going out of town, right? And I was like, whatever. I'm not going to let it ruin my day. Like,
feel it.
I feel it. Do what I got to do to move on. But if I'm going to just let it destroy me, am I going to let a chip in my windshield, like something so small, deteriorate my entire day, or a flat tire? Or like, like little things, like your coffee's messed up in the morning and then you're pissed off. Like, oh, nothing ever goes my way. Well, look at what you're speaking into your life. You're not speaking positivity. You're speaking negativity. Nothing ever goes my way. Oh, this always happens to me. Oh, I always have a bad morning. Oh, man, it's the middle of the day. I just want to go home. Like, what are you speaking? There's power in the tongue. Why don't you say, oh, my tire got flat. I know this must be the worst part of my day. I know the end of my day is going to be freaking phenomenal because something bad has already happened. I know a blessing's on the way. I know something great is on the way. I know that the end of my day is going to be great. You know what? I'm glad that's over with. It's like you said, you go to the gym early in the morning, right? And we discussed this. That's the hardest thing you'll do in the day, right? Most likely. Something physical, something like stressful.
Getting up.
Exactly. Just getting up and telling yourself, oh, I have to go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, that's a battle within itself, but you have to switch that inner voice, like, towards growth, right? You have to always say it. The quickest way that I make a decision in life is like, is what I'm gonna do gonna push me further in a direction where I want my life to be? Like, I don't look at my life like next month or next week or next quarter.
5 years.
I look 5 years from now. I'm looking at 30-year-old Isaiah. I'm gonna be 24 next month. I'm looking at 30-year-old Isaiah. Isaiah 2030. Isaiah 2035. Because the decisions I make today are going to really play out in a year and a half from now.
Yeah.
Like whatever we did right today in business, whatever money we made, it didn't do nothing for us, right? It keeps us afloat, keeps us going.
Of course.
And yeah, it's great, but it's not like, okay, well, our life tomorrow is dramatically changed, but it's the deposit we put, it's the harvest. It's when you plant the seeds, the harvest you get later on. You know, crops don't grow overnight.
I'm not sure if we covered it in the beginning, we probably didn't. We run several different business endeavors. Diving into automotive first, we run an automotive dealership.
Yes, that's how we met.
That is how we met back in, what was it, when we were 17, was it 6 years ago?
I would say roughly 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, because we like, I knew of you, you knew of me, we met, and then we...
I was at a different automotive dealership because I didn't like working with family just quite yet because I didn't understand it. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to get my own experience. I didn't want to see it from my dad. I went and got my own experience. Worked at a dealership called it was called Automax at the time. Now Western Motors on Blackstone and Barstow. And when I worked there, I got the experience I needed, which was mess up, burn 8 customers. Don't ever ask. Don't ever tell. You know, just get around, do what you got to do. Try to get a sale, and if you don't get a sale, it's all good because it doesn't even matter to you at the end of the day, you know, but it did matter. And then I hit points where I was like selling 12, 15. I hit a tax season out there and I sold like 20, and they were paying like decent money for an 18-year-old. Getting $4,000 or $5,000 a month is life-changing for a guy. You know, you're like, wow, I'm making crazy money, right? Moving on, I went to a nicer dealership. I went to a Honda dealership. Going into the Honda dealership, I networked a ton, met a whole bunch of people. And I think learning from the first dealership, you know, how to speak to people, how to talk to higher up management, how to play your role, slow your role, stay in your lane. Moving into networking at a Honda store, you run into so many people at an automotive dealership, you know. You can run into people who are multimillionaires buying 3-4 cars. Multimillionaires buying 3-4 trucks, you know. And then you get into deep conversations with them, understanding their day of life. Then you dive into, you know, moving up in the ranks, understanding higher positions in the company, and building that core, like understanding what the core is. And then you move forward. After that, moved over to back to the family business where you were. Again.
So that's funny. So I was actually already working for your dad when you came back, because I think you were at Honda at the time. It's funny because I also went from independent. So I went from used cars. And I started off at a very small car lot that was a family friend owned at the time. And then from there I went franchise. I went, of course, independent here and there. Tried that out. Of course, I was like, I want to grow fast, so I'm just working every place, right? And like, I'm that one sales kid who's like selling cars on Facebook, making money. So like, everybody's like, oh, come work for me because like you're making those videos. Like, who does videos, right? 5 years ago, because that wasn't as popular as
Nobody
now.
did that,
right? And then I remember I went franchise, and I remember I made $10,000, and it was my first month ever doing franchise. Like, and I was like 10 grand, right? I'm like, I'm showing my mom. My mom's like, what the hell, 25 years, you know, I've been a cop for 25 years, you know? And like, I made 10 grand, you know, and it was like, okay, that's like addicting, right? But there was a lot of like failures that came before that, before I ever hit that $10,000 check. Because when I first started off, I'm not going to cap. Like, I was making like $2 grand, $2,500 a month, you know, from $2 grand to a vice president, like, COO, come on now, you know, but you have, like you said,
happy with that,
you have to play your part and play your role, and you have to learn. And it goes back to networking. I was selling cars to like the city manager of Tulare, the manager of superintendent of this school, and I met so many like unique people. And I always say if I was going to go back and do it again, I probably would have stayed in sales longer. Instead of trying to like climb the ladder, I would have stayed on that sales floor, because the more hands you shake, the more deals you make, right? The more people you meet and the more people you network with. And if you have a unique like character trait, or if you're like a unique individual, people want to talk to you, right? So it was great, because in order to sell 20, 30 cars a month, you had to go through like 40, 50 customers at a franchise store, right? If you have high conversion rate, that's minimum. If you're like really summing them out. I was mainly appointment-based through social media. But
I was mainly just ups. I didn't really use social media.
I was on Facebook. So I was, my first day.
Key. Social media is key in
my
business.
First day, I sold a car. Like, it was first day, referral, repeat, boom. And it was a customer that I sold a used car to. Well, they sent me their son, right? So that's another thing. Repeat referral business. I don't care. I've had I've had people tell me like, if your business is only repeat and referral, that's not a business.
Yes, it is.
I'm in the car industry.
Yes, it is.
Number one business, that's cap.
Yeah.
Every car we've sold so far this month has been
Repeat customers.
Repeat and referral.
Yes.
Like, hands down. And it's like, it's so easy to get them. Now we do attract new clients, but every time we attract a new client, our goal is to sell that same customer 3 cars, not to get off track, but that's a business within a business, right? Like if you're a sales professional, you need to take care of your clients. Like
it's a must.
And your intention has to be real because one, God knows and the customer knows, right?
Yeah.
If your intention's not real and you're full of it,
you're just like white lying through the whole deal.
All those people you networked with, they know for a fact that you're real. But let's get back to like what we're saying. So, automotive industry. So you're the CEO of SpeedMax.
Yes.
I sit as your right-hand COO, and well, what you've built is incredible, right? Because like you said, you learned from your dad who built the company and from where he's at, from nothing to something massive. And now where you're taking it is next level. And then together we decided, and then so from there we have automotive, and then we also have an insurance agency where we do auto and home insurance, which ties into the business. And now also diving into the real estate aspect, which will kind of be vague on, but of course you can always like go to our website or look us up on Instagram. You'll kind of see more. Now people ask us, how do you do it all? Well, one, it's not just us, right? Like that's number one.
That's
wasn't
impossible.
just us. Like a few years back, it was just us.
Yeah.
We actually merged in 2022. What we were already in communication talking about merging. I mean, we were starting having these conversations like beginning of the year, right?
Yeah,
like,
very early,
you really pushed me into a new dimension because where I've gone has been like extraordinary over the last 6 months of my life, and where you're going has been extraordinary, like the growth level. And we're not talking about like money. Like money's a byproduct of what we're already doing, but you've gone just as a CEO of SpeedMax and growing that industry, and now you're also helping people. People are reaching out to you to grow other things, and now with our insurance agency combined to the automotive industry, it's incredible.
It is, yeah.
Like those two hand in hand, it doesn't get any better.
It doesn't, yeah.
And I mean, of course, like at the dealership, we have DMV services, and we have the insurance services, and we have now with our new banks and loan partners, we have the refi programs that we have, and the service contracts or the warranties, and I mean, it just unfolds and unfolds and unfolds.
There's so many things. There's so many key pieces of the puzzle. Like the puzzle is endless, and we're just continuously adding more subcategories to the puzzle, which is it's unstoppable. At some point, we will become unstoppable.
100%.
And people will look back and be like, "Wow, I saw these guys a while ago. Didn't really know too much about them, and now look at them." You know?
And I think that goes back to a belief in yourself too. Like you have to believe in yourself that you're going to be the absolute greatest. Nobody can tell me. I don't care how many people we could post this clip on social media and everybody be like, "Oh, he's full of it." I don't care, right? Like my mindset is so stuck on like success and growth. And I always say success is whatever you attach success to be, right? Like if you want to be a chef, be a chef. If you want to be a doctor, be a doctor. If you want to be a car salesman, be a car salesman. You want to do mortgages, do mortgages. You want to go and be a carpenter, be a carpenter. Like that just hands down is like whatever you want to be. Even our videographer, you can't see behind the scenes, like, with his business, when I met him, he's blown it up. You know what I'm saying? Now he has multiple accounts and he does deals throughout Central California and San Francisco and Los Angeles, etc. But again, it's like he had a different mindset, a different belief system. Like, okay, I'm going to be the greatest in this video production marketing game. We said we're going to be the greatest in automotive. Like, and one, our reviews don't lie. You go look at us up online. We're a 5-star rated dealership, and everything has our name in it. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Back before we even partnered, and I just worked there, right? Like, we were just building that foundation. Like, hey, see Sam and Isaiah, see Sam and Isaiah, see Sam and Isaiah, and that has led into just something tremendous. But if I look to today, which I don't like, I'm always like, I'm grateful, but yet never satisfied, right?
Never satisfied, exactly.
But if I look back today, like what we've built has been tremendous, but like we're still just getting started.
Just getting started.
We're literally always just getting started, and it's leading us into a new path. But
which is why Q1 is so exciting, and I love looking at it like that, where it's just a start. Q1, Q1, seeing that, seeing it begin to unfold. And Isaiah and I are the type of people, we don't go out and party. We're not New Year's resolution people. We're not 2023, New Year, New Me. It's grind mode, the date first, 2023 is we're gonna be on the move. It is the same thing, same routine, even harder though, even faster, more motivated, more determined.
I think what we spoke about a lot though going into 2023, and again, this podcast, we're gonna be explaining tips to help you grow. We're gonna be sharing what helps us grow because we invest a lot into ourselves. We invest a lot into mentorship and coaching and courses and the books. Like, we've consumed a lot of information, right? And I spent thousands of dollars on that. So we're going to be sharing with our audience how to grow. So maybe you want to learn how to grow your business. Maybe you want to learn how to network. Maybe you want to learn how to market. Maybe you want to enhance your sales skills. Maybe you want to learn just how to grow as an individual. We're going to be covering everything in those aspects. And then we're going to have random conversations. You know, some episodes will just be funny. Like, we could just record our lives. It's just like we do some funny stuff.
Our lives are hysterical, honestly.
That's number one, but...
You guys will meet Larry.
Larry is... Thank you, Mom.
Thanks, Mama Wilburn. Appreciate that one. He's almost dead.
We tried.
He's almost dead. We did try. We really did.
But I like what you said about going into 2023.
Yeah.
Stop putting everything like, well, Monday I'm going to get started.
Oh my
Tuesday,
God, yeah.
Just get started. I'm trying not to curse in this damn podcast.
No, yeah.
But I want to like scream at people. Just get started.
There's a saying. The saying is, instead of saying, one day I will do this, you have to say, day one of me doing this. You got to manifest it. You got to want it. You got to actually push and go full throttle towards it. You can't be this, schedule it. Schedule it. You should be scheduling meetings. You shouldn't be scheduling your life. Do your life now. You don't even know if you're going to wake up the next morning.
Exactly. And that's what we do, right? Like when we have an idea, we put out on the calendar an execution date. Like this is going on the calendar and this is how we're going to execute.
If we don't execute, we get upset with
we
get upset with ourselves.
Yeah. So, I mean, it all comes back again to yourself. But like a lot of people will look at us or look at things we have going on and like, oh, well, how do I get there? Again, start small. Break down the small principles. I always say if you really want to learn and cultivate new habits, give yourself 3 small tasks a day. Maybe drinking half gallon of water, reading, I don't care if it's
making
one page of a book, making your bed. Now, I don't personally make my bed and I make a lot of money, right? Like some mornings I don't make my bed and I'm doing just fine.
Yeah.
Some days I also don't drink the half gallon of water. I think a lot of people too think like, well, damn it, I missed it, so I got to restart. No, like it's okay. Like you're not perfect. Like you're not God, so you're never going to be able to do it like perfect all the time, 100%. Like it doesn't work out that way. But you have to shift your perspective. Like, okay, like I want to get started. Ask yourself, what life do you ultimately want to live? And what is it going to take to get there? It's not a book. It's not a podcast. It's not a course. It's yourself. The book, the podcast, and the course are just supplements. It's like when you go to the gym, right? You got me some protein.
ISO 100.
Yeah, that protein.
Fruity Pebble
I'm taking
protein.
it now.
Solid.
The gym is the core, right? The protein is a supplement. It adds on. Your life is the core. You are the core. You're the foundation. You're the being moving. Like,
yeah, that's right.
The book and the podcast, the course, the network, and that's supplements to your life. You're supplementing your life to get further ahead. Now, if you want to like go fast, like read more books, talk to more people, learn more. I always say you're only what you know until you know something new, right? So tomorrow, for example, if you wake up and you do nothing different, you just go to work, you do the same task, you just go to the gym, and you don't pick up any books, listen to any new content, meet any new people, and you literally put yourself in a bubble, you don't learn not one thing new. But tomorrow, if I get in my car, I turn on a new podcast, I meet 3 new people, I read a book when I get home, I go to the gym, like I am literally adding massive value to my life.
Right, yeah.
But you have to get started, I would say, somewhere with one thing. Choose 1 or 2 things you want to get done and just get them done and mark them off. Because you have to reprogram your subconscious mind to win, right? Like, your subconscious mind is already telling you that we're trying not to cuss, you're full of shit, right? Yeah. Like, okay, yeah. Your subconscious mind, like, I used to struggle with going to the gym. I'm not going to cap. Like, I struggle with going to the gym. You would tell me, go to the gym. But when I say I'm going to get up and go to the gym, my subconscious mind knew in the past, like, you're not going to get up and go to the gym.
Yeah,
like, I'll get up maybe read, I'll get up maybe study, but I wouldn't get up and go to the gym until I reprogram my subconscious mind to like, there is no negotiation mind. Like when I get up, it is get up, get ready, and then go and execute on what is planned. Once you do that, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 times,
Consistency happens.
you've killed it. Like you have no negotiating with yourself, right? When it comes to the gym, like
It's
you don't
go to the
care
gym and period.
if you're sick. You don't care if you're like not feeling the greatest. You don't care if you had a bad day. Like it's a non-negotiable for you. You just go and do it.
Have to.
So that's a key factor. So like I said, I mean, we're going to be talking a lot about our growth clearly and ways to help you grow, but we also need feedback too, right? Like share with us like what you want to hear, what you want to learn, because we're going to be bringing on people from different industries.
A lot of
fields.
industries, yeah.
Yeah.
Big networkers, big, institution, higher up institution, executive institutions. It's like so many people. There's a wide variety of people. I have so many people asking me, when is it happening? Social media influencers, when is it happening? Big networkers, when is it happening? You have your side of your network. When is it happening? So I mean,
exactly.
It's here. It's started. We're kicking off Q1 very strong. We want everything to kind of go intact and make sure everything's lined up well, which we'll be able to do, and
100%.
everything will flow well.
Yeah, and we also want to help people too. That is like one of my big whys is helping people. So on my side, we do have an events business, which it's not like we don't talk about it every single day because it's just an events business, right? Like I have an event, I bring people, and I try to encourage them and then move on. So I had the first event this past July,
Right.
and it was great. People said it was great, and I got a lot of feedback that lives were changed, right? So now we're taking it up a notch in 2023. We're looking to double down on that. So that's something that I'm focusing on as we're building out. And then we've also discussed having like a Discord chat and groups, etc., to help people grow and elevate, because sometimes they just need to be around a new group of people or a new influence. So that's something that we've talked about. So your feedback is important only because we're well connected and we're always going to be networking. And if we have the opportunity to help somebody that really wants to grow or just change or connect, we're on it. Like we want to connect and talk to, like, this is not just what is Sam and Isaiah doing so they can go and flex whatever they have going on, because trust, like, that's not our lifestyle. We don't flex the cars, the money, like that doesn't do nothing for us. You can, I'm sure, get rich quick on Instagram, go find an influencer. Maybe that's who you're looking for. That's not us.
Somebody flexing Ferrari with the ads.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's just not who we are. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that mainly covers like where we come from, just multi-level executives. We have our hands in a few businesses. We do have a rather large team. If we were to add up everybody we have in total, probably 15, 16 people on our team. Charlie,
who a little bit more, but yeah, basically
work hand in hand with us and underneath us, and we're looking to rock 2023.
It's going to kick off well.
Like 2023, I don't care about what the news says and Twitter says. Twitter's been on fire lately. I don't care what your aunt says on Facebook and your cousin Mario said down the street.
We don't fear it.
You decide what your life looks like. Nobody holds the keys to your life. God tells you when life is over. That's it. But in the meantime of all of that mist, you decide how your life will look. And you don't just have to want a good life, you have to make a good life. You have to plant the seeds and then you reap the harvest. So in 2023, I'm encouraging people to go dare yourself. Ask yourself, what would happen if I went all in, if I ate healthy, if I spoke with more people, if I developed better skills in business, if I developed more systems, if I went to the gym? What would your life look like if you went all in? Even if you went 25% harder than you went in 2022, how would your life look? Because I know that's my motto.
Different.
So
yeah.
I don't know what you want to add to the end of that, but I mean, I pretty much covered what we're discussing.
Basically, to wrap everything up, it is going to be an exciting year. You're going to see a lot of people. Stay tuned. You're going to see many influencers, many networkers. You're going to want to be a part of the motive, the move. You want to be motivated while checking us out. We want to help you guys. We want to show you guys ways in improving yourself, getting better daily. We don't run companies with our eyes closed and basically just understanding a little bit about it. We know a lot about it. We know a lot about how to network, how to get in really good relations with a lot of banks. You have several banks that know you by name. Isaiah, how's it going? Let's get some deals funded. Let's do it. So many banks know me by my caller ID, by my cell phone number. They know. They see the number. They go, I know who this is, even though it's a landline. They know us that well. To plant the seed, like you were saying, to plant the seed, you have to make sure that you do it and you do it right. So that's what we're going to be able to help you guys with. We're going to be able to show you guys the ways on doing it. And honestly, it should be exciting. I'm ready for it.
So the Keep Going podcast, the name is within itself, Keep Going. We want you to keep going. We want you to also keep following along with us. And again, drop us feedback, drop us questions.
Yes.
We're not going to tell you, okay, we're going to be shooting a podcast every 3 days, but we will be we're going for weekly, and then new segments. And then as it unfolds, we're going to explain how the format's going to lay out. Because we're not going to say from the beginning, well, we have it all pictured out and planned. Here's the blueprint. There is no damn blueprint, okay? The blueprint is us. That's the blueprint. He's blue and I'm the print.
Yep.
And that's what we're putting together, and you're going to be along for the ride. So
That's right.
just make sure you stay in touch with us. And we have an Instagram handle, Keep Going the Podcast. I can't speak clearly. Like, well, you need to invest in communication. I do, trust me. So Keep Going the Podcast. We do have 2 new websites coming out for ourselves individually. I know, like, damn, you can't even speak. You can find us on Instagram, Isaiah. Just Google us. I mean,
Google us.
We'll pop up. We're going to be
my Facebook
somewhere.
will come up. Yeah.
So thank you guys.